Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
Ma, is there a question that you want to add to AZEEZA?
Anybody have any questions?
Any questions, please? You can go for the questions right now. I think we're all
Yes. Before I go into the question, I wanted to tell you as well that I used to say that all the time, because when I discovered it, I found it so fantastic. That in Cameroon, I'm originary from Cameroon, but I was born and raised in France. Oh. And in Cameroon, we have a tribe who speaks Tamil.
Okay.
And it's an original tribe. It's not like imported Indians came to come, but it's original since they've been there forever.
Wow. And Tamil is one of the oldest language, and that's why I love to even do some of my Islamic prayers in Tamil. And this prayer that I did is not even a religious prayer; it is a Tamil prayer, and that's it.
Yes, and Tamil takes its roots in Sanskrit as well.
Yes. No, okay, that's a whole conversation around that. The other way around. Yeah. Okay. But doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yes. Thank you so much. Any questions anybody have? Well, this is a very heavy topic, and it is really a challenging topic for many spiritual leaders that worked on this journey. And because for me, I was in that extreme on spirituality. Just now I told you, I was traveling with a suitcase for 2 years.
Wow.
All around the world, just one suitcase. And I was committed to that, thinking that that was all about it. And I had a lot of traction, and people were inviting me to speak at various spiritual events, especially a women dressed like this and talking about, I get attracted to everywhere. But I found out, and the wake-up call was, and that was my wake-up call, to see how spiritual leaders can come together and speak at a higher space with prosperity and financial clarity, which I feel that, being with many spiritual leaders and partners and, mentors, I felt that that was the gap. And being the bridge has always been my journey. So as I worked on myself, going through relationship breakdowns, health breakdowns that are almost, I thought I was going to die, and all of that conversation, bedridden, all of that. I really got it that, inner alignment is key. And when I got to my inner source alignment, and this was the huge calling to see spiritual leaders coming together as one in a louder voice. And I really want to reiterate that it's a louder voice, and to give you the expansion of the heart, because right now, a lot of people, that one or two spiritual leaders doing it as a organization, nonprofit, because they're so afraid to go into business. So there's no need for this gray veil there. It has to be opened, and it has to be so open that we are supposed to be doing business, doing good in a most empowering way together. So I would love you to give your thoughts, and I would love you to challenge the thought as well, because we want to have, different, insights to this, because I may be looking at this very serious thing about, yes, we all must come together in spirituality and work financially together. But at the same time, these business leaders, as I speak about it, because we work with Bombay Stock Exchange, which is the oldest stock exchange. And I'm willing to talk about this here. We are in the capital market of Asia's oldest capital market. And we work in the inside of the SME listed companies, and we have shareholders that are there. Imagine the impact that we need to create in India or across Asia, right? With business leaders of that nature. We need a lot of energy. We need a lot of energy workers, like the ones that, they're showing up here, to say that, prosperity and positivity needs to get an expansion of energy right now. Because let me tell you, they were quite devastated. And alone, and a couple of us, in the circle, especially Indians alone, we couldn't, really going through that other than conducting these online programs. And they were like, oh my God, it's so wonderful that you are there with us. But other than that, we need more energy healers to be in that space with us.
Yes, but it's really fantastic, and that you'll be able to reach at the, I would say, the global level of what the business seems to be. I mean, is like in the world right now, is capital is really major. And I mean, how can we, do you have like your program, could be, targeted like specific companies, for example, just to get started with, and start to imbibe your concepts and your techniques, I would say, and expertise into how they would function and how they would also capitalize, how they would help to capitalize and enhance even their just about the productivity, because all you talk about is also so it's conveying so much abundance, which is very divine.
So it's a 3 jigsaw puzzle, right? Market mechanism, capital mechanism, and social mechanism. So our business school offers all of this with various business leaders in it. So if you want to talk about the first level approach, we actually work with them, talking to them about going global and expanding themselves. And we have a structured format for that. But how we are looking at this right now is like what you asked. We are not a technical PowerPoint learning theory school. So we need to get that really clear. Transformational learning is whole brain, whole being learning. And you may want to write this down. It's a whole body cellular level learning. And our business school that I learned from, Accelerated Business School, has been around since 1978. They are the pioneers of such teachings. We have games that we play that is researched in Harvard University. 5 PhDs have been written on them. So we're talking about the whole concept of changing the way that education can be delivered at a spiritual level. And this is something that is so, not talked about because we are still growing word of mouth. We are not like, out there marketing ourselves like those, various programs. So we're very word of mouth marketing platform. But at the same time, we are so focused in ensuring business leaders come up in the conscious space. So some of the graduates of this business school that I'm associated with and we are bringing in their work is people like the Ben & Jerry ice cream owner, co-founder. Okay, follow me. Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, Jack Canfield. And if you know in Singapore, Hourglass, the organizations that grew really big, they were all part of this organization. And then they took on a huge voice for themselves. So every business needs a soul that can be the voice, and the intention and the vision is not about how many people, it's not just about some material like best in the world, that kind of thing. No need. You need to be able to impact. So that's why our vision is global peace through global business. And I want to just round off by telling you that global business, how does that happen? My mentor, my business partner, he's on the call, right? So he taught me every person who connects and contacts, even on this call, right? Everyone is connected, fine. But imagine the way that we can slip away. After this, we may not connect. And I tell you, I'm connected with many people from the first parliament as well, still doing some work with them, but they don't connect. What we are saying is global peace can be created through global business when we connect like that. And when we are connected like that in business, which is the rice bowl of people, would you want to hurt each other? Would you want to or work together to find amicable way and grow in consciousness as a family? That is the way that we are bringing together, and our vision for the 100,000 companies that's going to come together with us. And they are already coming together. We do have a community already being built. So this is the game. So do you relate to what I'm saying? It's really, exciting conversation. And for this to happen, there's many layers of work that only not even AZEEZA alone or a Mr. Ayapadas or a Doria alone can't do. So that's where we are engaging more and more people to come together in various expertise. So our school offers across the board, left brain and right brain, whole brain learnings for everyone that is going into business growth in spirituality.
Yeah, thank you, AZEEZA. We have Dr. Yugandhar who is with us right now.
Yes.
Over to you, sir. Would like to continue the panel discussion, please.
So thank you and a warm welcome to you, AZEEZA Jalaluddin ji. Thank you very much for joining here. Just listening to the discussions going on. Thank you very much. So, people have been much confused between literacy, schooling, and education.
Yes.
Many people are under the impression that these three are one and the same.
Yes.
When three are different.
Yes.
Three are on different tracks and never synonymous.
Yes.
But because of lack of time, lack of focus, to make things easy, schooling is made to be believed as equivalent education. literacy is made to be believed as equivalent to education. The three arts, reading, writing, and arithmetic, is considered as education. When education is totally different phenomena, of all the studies that are available in the world, self-study is ultimate. And this ultimate aspect of this self-study can be called as education as far as the definition is concerned. So in this regard, what are your insights? How do you want the people see about what the education should be and how we should make them understand the value, the importance, the meaning, the significance of the real education every human being needs?
Okay, so are you asking me, right? I'm going to answer you that.
Yes,
Fantastic. So you said education and you said schooling. And what was the third one?
Literacy.
Literacy? Okay, all right, fantastic. So you know something, we are so committed to see the growth of humanity in education. The other two, schooling, people are homeschooling right now. And anyway, everybody is homeschooling right now. So schooling is redundant. And literacy, you know, some of the greatest prophets that we know, like Nabi Muhammad, he was only taught to read Arabic when, you know, in the caves by angels to say, you know, Iqra, so read. That was in the age of 40, when he was 40 years old. So imagine when we are doing literacy and what we call schooling, it can be, you can pick it up anywhere in your life. And education is, for me, and I'm going to give you my opinion, and I would love the other panelists also to share, is a lifelong journey of evolution, growth. And that can only happen. And many people think that they have to go through experiences to do it. And we always have this understanding that either you get messages from the universe or the Almighty with a tap, pick you up. Hey, wake up. You know, it's a tap to wake you up, or you get a Mack truck. Do you relate to what I'm saying? The world has got a Mack truck right now. Everybody is like going into an education big time. And this level of education is what we all want to avoid in our lives. So that's where everybody is waking up to a new level of consciousness. So education for me is about consciousness, and it is a lifelong journey. And I love it that nowadays schools are already embedding these kind of education, like the Montessori's, or even in some schools in US, they are teaching yoga. And my niece, I've never heard this, it's in a Chinese school, right? So she goes to my same Chinese school. She comes back home and she says, Auntie, let's do mindfulness activity. I'm like, what? It's a Chinese school. So everybody's already inculcating the human development, human evolution into their way of life. So to me, the other two can be picked up anywhere in the life, and education is a lifelong journey that we need to commit. And that's the word. If we don't evolve, and whole life is about evolution through education, if not, we will just dissolve and die. So evolution is like that. Sometimes we feel like we are going in circles. This is what my mentor told me, and it was very powerful. We're like sometimes going in circles, like, didn't I just get into this kind of things before? How come I'm back in that space? But if you notice, it is a circle that is evolving next level upwards, because you may back to the same situation, but you're no longer the same person to handle the situation. You become more evolved in the way that you attempt to it. And all our journey is about educating ourselves to be a more evolved human being till we, you know, dissolve in the ultimate space of, you know, whatever that you want to call that, the universe. And so that's where it is. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Thank you, AZEEZA ji. Thank you very much. Thanks for your wonderful insights. And, you know, the ancient education system, if you observe, be it the Indian system, be it the Roman system, the Egyptian system, the Mayan system, the African system, so many schools of thought, the traditional education system. For example, let us take two very prominent systems. One is Roman, the Socratic era, and what has been in the contemporary times in India, 2005 years back. You know, in the Socratic time, the education system was much influenced by the Pythagoras, who came from Turkey and settled in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought two major categories of education, trivium and quadrivium. Trivium and quadrivium is combination of 3 and 4 types of education system: geometry, music, arithmetic, even the spiritual aspects and other aspects of education. So rhetoric, poetry, they also called it as education. So it is a combination of arts and sciences put together, categorized grossly as trivium and quadrivium, which was later popularized by Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and the historians like Herodotus and so many other people. Same with Indian education system. The father of Indian education system is called as Shanku, who was one of the Navaratnas of King Vikramaditya. So the education system, as was promulgated by Shanku, included all the 64 kalas, 64 arts, 64 arts and sciences when it comes to Indian education system. Even stealing things is also one of the arts, very important arts. People wanted to learn art of stealing things. So how do you compare all this, ancient Indian system with all the 64 types of education system and trivium and quadrivium grossly into 7 categories and all-inclusive approaches of so many arts and sciences? And presently, a person who is a civil engineer, suppose, is absolutely untrained in what is plant genetics. Who is much more trained in plant genetics may not know what is done by chemistry. They can't understand. So education has become, more a profession than the real education, the way it has to be understood. So in this scenario, how do you think the ancient education system or the forgotten education system, maybe in terms of values, the diversity, the all-inclusiveness, and the real research format, and maybe the long application format of education is helpful in the present understanding of education system to make our own children reach or make themselves better citizens for the upliftment of the world.
Yes. Well, that is a very, very, important context for us to operate from right now. Because, when you want to compare what's in the past, I think somebody was sharing about it, all the good elements of it, and how much are we going to take it forward, and where is it lost is the question. Where did it break? That right now, everybody who feels like they want to get online, they're a trainer or a teacher, and they can, based on whatever that they have compiled over the Google, can take on this journey. So that is the gap there. So where did it break? It would be my question. Maybe we can look at that. And most importantly, it is the responsibility of us as a global community to not just collate this, but it's an individual, I would say at a cellular level memory. I think somebody's not muted and it's noisy. Yeah, so there's a cellular level memory that is in all of us, and the contradiction, like for example, I will tell you, being brought up in a, okay, I'll give you myself as an example. Being brought up in a Muslim cultural background, I would have a certain way of learning, which would be very different if I have been brought up in a Hindu way of background. Do you follow what I'm saying? So if all these various education systems have worked at that time, right now we are in an evolving stage. And everyone needs to know that their personal evolution is also important, knowing your roots and where you belong. And then go find the real sense of passion on what you want to teach or what you want to share, and focus on that for education, rather than saying that just because you have some theory education or some theory knowledge, you want to go out there and teach, which means, we say this word, and I think this much relate to what you asked, earn the right to be sharing what you are sharing. And it could be in any space, earning the right to be able to share what we are sharing is very important in today's education. Because then if not, we cannot take 100% responsibility for the information we are sharing. And what is the outcome? What do we want to achieve out of this education? Because many people in the world, and I have walked around with thousands of trainers, coaches, spiritual leaders as well. At some point in time, it works as like, it's about the fame and name game. And then you pass that level to say, how do you add value to the people who are listening? And so when we are in this space of education where it's all about adding value, how much are you able to transform the person's life? And you can only transform other people's life when you are committed to transform and you have this clarity of being an experience of what you are speaking about. So education and educationists. And that's why we stand for the upliftment of education, educators around the world, and especially in India. And that's one of the mission that we took on, to see that education system expand, working from across the world as well. So educators and educationists need to be an experience. And I still remember one of the sayings from Prophet Muhammad's teachings, that when a person was asking for brought his son to the Prophet Muhammad and said, please advise my son. He's, doing something very wrong. I think was smoking or something. Then he said, please hold. I come back tomorrow. And when the person came back tomorrow, he said, okay, now I can talk to him. When we asked, why do you take one day? Prophet Muhammad said he had some bad habit that he had to stop before he can preach it to another person about stopping any habit. So this is where we need to have a lot of clarity in being an experience ourselves and walk the talk. And that's why even the industry is being tarnished by saying, people say that trainers and teachers and consultants are there just to preach, not practice. So we need to really evolve that whole dimension to a place where we are not just preachers. We want to people be an experience. So let trainers, teachers, mentors, everybody be an experience in their life, so that when we meet anybody, we don't have to speak at cellular level, at energy level. We will be sending that vibes to them, that they will be able to shift and they will be able to create a difference for themselves. And that could be even in 1 minute.
Thank you very much, AZEEZA ji. Thank you for throwing light on the difference between educationists and educators, and your insights from the teachings of Prophet Muhammad and the upbringing of the children from different systems of education. That is very much laudable. So with this, I think we have any more sessions and plans for this session, Samyukta?
No, sir.
I think let us close this track. Track 1.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Day 1 of the World Parliament on Spirituality, Asia chapter. So thank you all the speakers, Kwanto Shivo, Dr. AZEEZA Jalaluddeen, and other panelists who joined these sessions to make this program much more enlightened, much more beautiful. So thanks a lot. Thanks for your great presence. And please stay tuned. We are going to have another 4 days of this World Parliament on Spirituality. All the viewers, please stay tuned. So it is going to begin from 9 a.m. in the morning Indian Standard Time and ends almost up to 1:30 or 2 p.m. So world over, all the viewers are requested to stay tuned, and please stay tuned, especially for the valediction ceremony, which is going to start on day 5, that is 23rd December at 12 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So we are going to make several announcements about how we all can move forward in the year 2021, and how this energy and concept, idea, vision of the unity consciousness movement that has been initiated and being fueled by the speeches of so many wonderful beings across the world, almost 1,000 plus from 200 nations. We have already completed 5 events in the series from Asia, Europe, Southern North America, and Africa. And now we are in the last part of the series, the Asia chapter. So we are going to complete this World Parliament series in another 4 days. So please stay tuned for the wonderful announcements. Please join, especially on the day 5, 12 p.m. Thank you, Dr. AZEEZA. Thank you, Dr. Kwanto Shivo. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Samyukta, moderator, and everyone here. All the viewers, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody.